Well, hello there, horror fans and fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to the second part of my horror-themed recommendation video. Today I've got more films for you and more books for you to choose from, to read and to watch when you have to stay at home as far as the self-quarantine and self-isolation goes. So you have something to spend your long evening with and get a bit scared, maybe. Right, why not start with my favorite slasher series from the 80s, and that is The Nightmare on Elm Street. Of all the slasher franchises and films, as far, be it Friday the 13th, Halloween, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and so on and so forth. Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite. For me, the idea and the premise is extremely original and inventive. Imagine a guy who can kill you in your dreams. Well, you can't escape that, really, can you? Well, the main characters, always do in one way or another. But think about it. You have to sleep. Even if you try not to sleep, eventually you will fall asleep. And this guy can get you in your sleep. It's written in Czech. This is a Czech DVD edition. It's the entire collection. It only doesn't contain the remake, which I don't really care about. But it's also got a documentary about making of the series, which I do recommend because it is full of interesting information about how Wes Craven created the character and the movie franchise. And Freddy Krueger, for me, is the most iconic horror icon, even more than Pinhead or Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, because not only is he a great horror character, but he's witty and funny, and he has got many puns, and he says many funny things throughout the franchise, throughout the series. And Robert Englund is such a fantastic actor that I couldn't really imagine anybody being a better Freddy Krueger. Not even the Haley somebody. I don't remember the name of the guy from the remake, but I suppose it doesn't matter. And I love Freddy Krueger so much that I had to buy I'm a collector of memorabilia and statues and action figures as well, and I had to buy the quite expensive Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale figure, which I don't think I'm going to show you because of the new COPPA thing on YouTube and Google. But that's my first recommendation, A Nightmare on Elm Street series by Wes Craven. You can't go wrong there. The second one is probably, it is one of my favorite movies of all time, not taking any genres into consideration, and that's the first two Alien films. Alien, which I've only got in this lousy Czech DVD edition because I couldn't find the steelbook, and Aliens, which I have in the steelbook. They're quite different in that the Alien, the first one, is it is a slow, dark sci-fi horror, atmospheric roller coaster in that the entire movie is intertwined with some sort of weird and unsettling calmness. It's really more about the atmosphere and about what you can't see. You can only see the alien, the actual creature, a couple of brief times, mainly in the end of the film. So I actually prefer the first one over the second one, Aliens, which is more of an action film, where, so this was done by Ridley Scott, this was done by James Cameron, where it's obviously about Ripley coming back there to the planet where she originally found, with her crew, the aliens the creatures, the xenomorphs. And it being an action flick, it's obviously got more action, more guns, more shooting. It's got the Space Marines. It's got more aliens. But I love Aliens as well. This is an action ride, an action-packed, entertaining sci-fi horror action film, right? Whereas this is like a very dark, atmospheric sci-fi horror. So I wouldn't really compare Alien and Aliens. I wouldn't say that one is better than the other, because they are completely different from each other. But if I had to speak my opinion, I would say that I will always hold the first one in my heart a bit more than the second one. But definitely check out the Alien franchise. All the Alien movies are good. I know that people don't really like Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection, or even Alien Covenant, but they're not bad. They're not Alien or Aliens, but they're not bad. It's just they can be watched and rewatched. But these are cult classics. Then I've got a classic for you. One of my favorite horror books, and that's Dracula by Bram Stoker, from the end of the 19th century, which is... I'm trying to think about it, and well, I wouldn't really compare it to any contemporary horror authors, but as far as the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, I would say that Dracula is probably my favorite horror book. Of course, written in the form of diaries and letters, diary entries and letters, and it is one of the first vampire novels, and I would say that it is the ultimate vampire novel, and will forever be the ultimate vampire novel. Where, of course, there have been many of them since then. Some of them have been even good. But for instance, I like the Guillermo del Toro's approach to vampires, where he approached vampirism as more of an infection than like blood curse. It was a bit similar to what they did in Blade 2 by Guillermo del Toro, actually. He directed it. And yeah, well, obviously, I also love comic books, so I love the, classic interpretation of the Blade character. So Dracula, the book, and I do recommend you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, by Francis Ford Coppola, or directed by Francis Ford Coppola, with Gary Oldman as Dracula, Winona Ryder as Mina, Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker, and Anthony Hopkins as the great Abraham Van Helsing. So that's a very good film. It is a specific interpretation. It's very artistic. It's very gothic-like. But I have to say that I prefer the original Dracula by Ted Browning with Bela Lugosi as Dracula. I have to say that. I prefer the old one. I even like Nosferatu, the German one, which is one of the first films ever made. But if I really have to pick one as my favorite one, because there have been hundreds of film adaptations of the Dracula novel. One more I would mention is the Hammer series with the late Sir Christopher Lee, in the role of Dracula, which was decent as well. But if I had to pick one that I prefer, or that is my favorite, it's the one with Bela Lugosi as Dracula, the old one. I don't have it on DVD or Blu-ray on a physical copy yet, but I think, because I want to rewatch it very soon, that I might order it even tonight. So it's here next week. and I can rewatch it. But this one is definitely great as well. Yeah, and that, I believe, is that it. It is, yeah, is all for today. There will definitely be a part 3. So today's picks are the best slasher series from the 80s, A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I've got the Alien franchise. The first one and the second one are obviously the best. But you will not regret watching the entire series if you haven't, I would say. And then the Dracula novel, and the Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, Ted Browning's Dracula, sorry, with Bela Lugosi as Dracula. And if you feel like it, you might even check out the Dracula films with Christopher Lee as Dracula. So I've already been talking for 11 minutes. I will not take any more of your time. And that would be all from me, my friends, today. I'm looking forward to making a third part of this series. Yeah, bye, stay safe, and stay indoors.